Today we are making a Lacey Treble Shrug. So it's going to be lacy, it's going to be made out of a lot of trebles, and it is your shrug. So what do we need for this? We need some yarn. What I have is Comfy Cotton Blend from Lion brand, and it is, what is the blend? Cotton and polyester 50-50. And it has 392 yards, 358 meters, 200 grams, 7 ounces. It is a number 3, and it calls for a 6mm crochet hook. And so I'm going to use this number 3. It's a pretty decent size number 3. And instead of a, what does it say, 6mm, I'm going to use a 9mm. So between the trebles and the larger hook size, it's going to be really lacy, meaning loose fitting, great for this upcoming spring. And we'll need scissors, and we'll need a large eye embroidery needle, and of course a stitch marker so that you can lay it down and go get the mail or whatever and not lose any stitches. So to get started, what you need, I'm going to be making a ladies medium. So to get started with the medium, you need to have, and I already did this, you need 44 foundation single crochets. 44. Now I'll put in the little eye in the top right corner, the little eye for information. Click on that and you'll get a link to my tutorial on how to do foundation stitches so that you can do this. Now I would strongly suggest that you do the foundation stitch just because this is the neckline. And so if you had a chain, then you have something that really needs to be finished off and you'll have to go back and do another single crochet on the other side or something. I'm thinking about putting on a collar on it, so this would be a nice starting point for a collar as opposed to the other side of a chain, you know, or something like that. But if you prefer, you can chain 45 and then in the second chain start your single crochets and go all the way back. You can do that. That is totally up to you. But you need to end up with 44 single crochets. So I have 44 single crochets. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 3. And I know 4 is supposed to be for the treble, but these are so loose. The chains are. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, because it's like 3.5 is really the treble, so that counts as a treble for this first stitch. So I go into the second stitch. Oh, so this is a raglan, if that means anything to you. This is a raglan top. So we're going to start with our 4 corners, and it's going to be open in the front, which you probably saw in the pictures at the beginning. So what we're going to do for the medium, we've got 44. We're going to chain 3, turn, and treble in the next 3 stitches. So yarn over twice. Skip this first stitch because it already has the chain to go with it. Go into the second stitch, do a treble. Ooh, that really stretched that out. That's 1. Oops. That's 2. Where's that stitch? And that's 3. So including the first chain, that's 4. 4 trebles. Now what we're going to do in the next stitch, in the very next stitch, we're going to make a corner stitch. So this is the first of 4 corner stitches in order to make the raglan. So we're not skipping any, we're just jumping right into this next stitch, and we're going to do 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 trebles in that same stitch. So 2 trebles, oops, I got an extra one. 1, 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 more trebles in the same stitch. 1, 2. Now, again, we're not skipping any because this is where we're growing, is on the outside. We're not skipping any. So now, after we do that, that corner stitch, we're going to treble into the next 10 stitches, do a corner stitch, treble in the next 11 stitches, do a corner stitch, treble in the next 10 stitches, do a corner stitch, and then treble to all the remaining stitches, which should be 5. So, I just did a corner. I'm going to do 10 stitches. So that should be 10. So here's the last 2 in the corner. So now I should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I do another corner, which is 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 trebles in the same stitch. 1, 2, chain 2, 2 more trebles, and there's your corner. And now we do 11 trebles. This is going to be across the back. Should be 11. So let's count them. There's the corner. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we do another corner. 2 treble, chain 2, 2 treble in the same stitch. One, 2, chain 2, and in the same stitch 2 more. And now we're going to do 10 more trebles until we do another corner. Now we've done 10, so let's count. That belongs there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to do another corner in this next stitch. 2 treble crochets, chain 2, 2 treble crochets in the same stitch. 1, 2, chain 2. 2 more trebles. 1, 2. And now we're going to do trebles all the way to the end. I'm going to use this space right here, and there should be 5 spaces left, or stitches, single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me find my V. 4 and 5. So here we have the raglan beginning. So there's the back. These are the arms. And then these are the front. So you have kind of a square. There. That's your raglan. And then we just keep building, and all of our increases come at these corners. So that's where we're going to see the increase of, because this certainly isn't big enough for a shrug, right? So it needs to get a little bit bigger for us. This is just our neckline, and it's good. We're going to see it getting bigger at the corners. So what we're going to do next is chain 3, and treble crochet in each stitch to the next chain 2 space, which is the corner. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3 for a treble, turn. That treble goes with that stitch, so don't stitch anything in there. Do another treble, and just treble until you get to the chain 2 in the corner. Treble in each treble. And this first one's pretty short. Should be about 7. I don't know. So here we are in the last stitch before the chain 2 space. Now in the chain 2 space, you're going to do a corner. And to do a corner, you do 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 trebles. 2 trebles. Oops. Chain 2 and 2 trebles. And now what we do is the same thing. We're going to now do trebles all the way across until we get to the next chain 2 space and do another corner. So we're just doing that all the way across, and each treble that's there that's not in a corner is just trebled upon. So you're just going to, after the corner, you just treble into the next stitch and the next stitch and the next stitch until you get to the chain 2 space. When you get to the chain 2 space, then you do 2 treble, chain 2, 2 treble in the space, and then start on the very next treble from the row before, treble, 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 all the way to the corner, 2 treble, chain 2, 2 treble, trebles all the way down to the next 2 chains, chain 2 space, to 2 treble, chain 2, 2 treble, and then do trebles in all of the rest of the stitches. Chain 3, turn. Okay, so what you're going to do is do this all the way across and then do it 4 more rows. So a total of 5 rows of what we're doing right now, including this row. It's 5 rows. Okay, and I will see you back after that, and we'll get started on the sleeves. I finished the top part of the raglan of the Lacey Treble Shrug. And what I'm going to do now is to put the armholes together. And let me see where I am, right here. And we're changing to double crochet. We're going from treble to double now. So I had my stitch marker in here to hold my place. And so with a double, what I'm going to do is just chain up 2. I don't like that extra long. So chain up 2, that counts as a double. Now I'm going to double all the way, sorry, there's my hand. I'm going to double crochet in every stitch until I get to the chain 2 space. So I'm going to double crochet all the way to the chain 2 space. And I'll be right back to show you what we do. So I just finished the double crochets all the way to the first chain 2 space. So this first section that we just did was for the front section. Now this is in front of the arm, and the whole area to the next chain 2 space, it's a big area, is for the sleeve. So what you do is you fold it to where you've got them right next to each other. You put 1 double crochet in this chain 2 space. You grab the next piece, you skip all of these trebles right here, skip them all, and go into the next chain 2 space and do a double crochet. And now in every stitch, again, we're doing a double crochet until we get to the next chain 2 space, and we'll do the same thing. So double crochet across the back, and then the next chain 2 space is going to be the back of the other arm. Alright, I'm almost up to the next chain 2 space. There's our last stitch. We're going to do the same thing as before. We find the other chain 2 space. Got a lot of space in there we're going to skip. So we kind of fold it over to where the 2 chain 2 spaces are next to each other. Do a double crochet in this chain 2 space. And then jump right over to the next chain 2 space. Again, skipping all of those trebles in between. Those are the sleeves. Well, they're the beginning of the sleeves. There's the armholes. This is an armhole. So it's just going to stay like this as we continue to go back and forth on the body of the shrug in double crochets and then some loops. And then we'll work on the arms. So finish this row. Oh, we're almost done. We'll finish this row. And thinking about doing trebles on the sleeves and then the loops when you see them, kind of fun, as the collar. What do you think? You can do it any way you want. I just think the trebles will lend itself to a little bit of tapering on the sleeves because you saw how large the armhole starts. We want to taper in just a little bit, and then the collar can stay really round with the loopy loops that you'll see in a minute. So I'm done except for the chain. Don't ever forget the chain. So I'm going to double crochet in here. And now we need 2 more rows of double crochet. Chain 2, turn, and now these are all together, so we're just going to treat when we get to the sleeve, and you have 1 double crochet in this chain 2 space and 1 double crochet in this one. You just go from here to here and just keep going. So we need 2 more rows of double crochet, and then I'll be back. So this is what we have so far. We have the little caplet sleeves, or caplet armholes that we're going to make sleeves on. And here's the front part. You can see the raglan increases there. Here's the front part. And then down here is where we just did our 3 rows of double crochet. So all these are trebles. And then we come down and we see the 3 rows of double crochet. So now what we're going to do is the loop-de-loop rounds. And I'll show you the loops. So find where your stitch marker is, take that out. The loops are made with chain 5s, with chains of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We skip a stitch and we single crochet in the next stitch. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip a stitch, single crochet in the next stitch. It's that easy, all the way across. 5, skip a stitch, single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip a stitch, go single crochet in the next stitch. So do that all the way across, and then I'll show you how we continue the loops on the loops. I'm on the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip skip a stitch and go to the next stitch, which is the chain. And so I'm going to put a single crochet in the top of the chain. There we go. And now we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we turn. Lock to turn. And then we put a single crochet in that first chain 5. Then we chain 5. Put a single crochet in the next chain 5. Chain 5. Single crochet in the next chain 5. You see what I'm getting at. So it gets a little breezy down here. So let me finish this row and I'll show you how to start the second row. Here I am at the last chain 5 and the last loop. So I'm going to put a single crochet in that last loop. And then chain 5. And then just turn. Do the same thing. Go to the first loop, put a single crochet, chain 5. Single crochet in the next loop, chain 5. But Chris, how long do I have to do this? Okay, so this is the last part of the middle part of the shrug. And so I'm going to do a total, including this first one that we were in the stitches, of 7 rows of that. Now, you can do fewer or you can do more depending upon the length that you want, because this is the last section of the middle part of the shrug. So you can try it on and see if you want to add a few more rows, or start trying it on at about 5 rows and see how much you want more. And then I'll be back to work on the sleeves. Okay. I finished doing the loop-de-loops on the bottom. And I ended up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows instead of 7. When I tried it on, it came right to my hips, and that's where I wanted it to stop. But like I said, you can do fewer or more depending upon your height or what you like in your clothing. So that's totally up to you. Now we're going to go on to the sleeve. Now the sleeve's just going to be a short sleeve just to the elbow, which is what I'm going to do. You could keep going and do a longer sleeve if that's what you want to do, because it's your shrug. So what I'm going to do is find the end of my yarn. Here it is. Give myself a nice long tail. I'm not sure how these sewing in these tails in something that's so lacy and loose can be kind of difficult. Now, once you start on one sleeve, you are determining which is the front of your fabric or of your shrug. So what I'm gonna do, this is the front. I just threw it down here, and so this is the front. All of our other rows have gone back and forth, so we have front, back, front, back, front, back of the stitches. But now we're going to continuously go around in making the sleeve. So I'm going to start on the bottom of the side that I'm going to go from right to left on. So I start down here where the chain 2 is, where I put together at the bottom of the raglan part. There's that double crochet is right there. So here's the chain 2. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch on, and then I'm going to just give myself a chain 2, and then in the same space, I'm going to do a treble. Right around twice. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to go around in every stitch and do a treble. And when I get around to the other side, to the end, I'll show you how we continue going. So 1 treble in every stitch all the way around, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm coming around to the end. I have 3 left. So I'm going to do 1 treble crochet, and then I'm going to do 2 treble crochet together, because I'm going to taper in the sleeve. So each time I go around, in the last 2 stitches, I'm going to do 2 together, which means you pull through 2, and stop. So then you yarn over and pull through all 3. So 2 trebles together. Let me show you that again. Yarn over twice, go into your stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and stop. Yarn over twice, go into the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, stop. Now we yarn over and pull through all 3 hoops on the hook. That's a treble 2 together. Now to find the end of the the sleeve. Okay, so I'm leaving this big hole right here because it gives me a little bit more space in the chest area and in the arm to start with. I just like it more drapey. So since I just did a chain 2 and then did a treble, you can just do a chain 3 if you want to make it act as a stitch. It's not a stitch here, it's just trying to give me the height. So here is the stitch for the first treble that I am going to slip stitch in. And then I'm going to chain 2, does not count as a stitch. Do a treble in the same place. And keep going around. 1 treble in each stitch. All the way around until I get to the last 2. So you're actually going to, this is going to be a lot easier as you get to the last 2 because now we've pulled it all together. So as you get down to the end of the sleeve, you're gonna, if you're tapering, then you do your treble 2 together right there. And then you attach, slip stitch here, and then you do 1 more round and around and around. And it gets a little bit smaller, just gives it a little bit more of a shape. Actually, the sleeve goes down a little bit as opposed to just sticking straight out. So I'm going to do 5 rounds for my sleeve. I'm going to do 5 rounds, and that gets it to about my elbow. So if that's what you want, if you want it shorter, I don't know, do 2 or 3. If you want it longer all the way to your wrist, then just keep trying it on and it'll keep tapering, or you can stop tapering at your elbow and then just don't do the 2 together. So I'm going to finish this sleeve, finish the sleeves, and then I will come back and show you the collar. All right, we have finished the sleeves and now it's really starting to come together. So it is a shrug now. And now what I want to do is to add a collar. You certainly don't have to, but I would like to. So I'm going to take the neck and go, I'm just going to start on the wrong side. We have a right side now because of the way we did our sleeves. That's the right side, because that's the right side of the stitches. So I'm just going to open up my collar and start on the wrong side. It doesn't really matter because we're going to do those loop-de-loops. And so that just goes back and forth. So however you want to do it is fine. I'm going to start this one though with a chain 4 because it is, or I'm sorry, a chain 3. First I'm going to put a little slip knot on there. Chain 3 as a stitch. And now, no I'm not. What am I thinking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because the loop-de-loops are not trebles. They're chains with single crochets. And now what we're going to do different with this is that instead of skipping a stitch and putting a single in the next and skipping and putting a single in the next, what I'm going to do is put a single in the very next stitch. And then chain 5 and single in the very next stitch. This is the only thing that's different from the loop-de-loops that we have on the bottom 2, 3, 4, 5 of the shrug. And the reason I'm doing this is because it needs to go around the neck and have a without having to do any increases. This just starts off with as much as it needs, and it's a little frilly. 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very next stitch is a single crochet. We're going to do this all the way across to the end. And then it's going to be exactly like we did before. Just chain 5 and single crochet in the next loop. 4, 5. So if this was the end, we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and turn. And now we have these big loops where we're going to put our chain 1, not our chain 1, our single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet. And as we do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet, these loops are starting to spread out a little bit. And so that way our collar will spread out a little bit. Now I'm going to do, I don't know, 3 to 5 rows of these, depending upon how long the collar gets and when I run out of yarn. So I'll probably do 3 or 4 rows of them, but I'll come back and I'll let you know and show you the end result. So keep loop-de-looping around the neckline and you will have a fabulous collar to go with your fabulous Lacey Treble Shrug. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have finished the collar and I was able to get 4 rows out of my ball of yarn, and it is very, very empty, my little cake. So then what I did, so we have our sleeves here, and we have the shadows all over the place. I'm so sorry. So we have the treble, and then we have 3 rows of double crochet, and then we have the loop-de-loops here, and we have the trebles on our sleeve, and we have the loop-de-loops to make the collar. And now what I did right here was I chained 60 chains, and then what I did was, so there's that, let me show you. What I did was, I did like I was making a fringe, you know, and do that little lark's knot or whatever that's called. And then I had these 2 pieces, and one piece I threaded through on the other first row of, I put this in the first row of the double crochet, and I just slid it through the first row of the other side of the double crochet. Easiest to see, but make sure that you're even. And then I just tied it in a bow so that it would stay together. You could also, try to get some less, let me do this. I'm using my neck light and the camera's, my phone's in the way. So you could also thread some ribbon through all the way around through one of the rows of the double crochet and then tie a bow with that. So there it is, the Lacey Treble Shrug. I hope you like it. Let's see the back of it. See the back. Nice, nice. I like the loop-de-loops on the bottom. Make it all nice and frilly, and to balance it out with the loop-de-loops on the top, that's so cool. Down here. And you know what's really neat about this? It is a shrug, but it's really a sweater. And everything was done all, well, you had to sew on the sleeves, but you started at the sleeves and you kept going. And there were no raw edges that you had to try to put a single crochet border on or something so that you could sew on it. They're all finished edges all the way through. So anyway, so there it is. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for your time. And we always have a choice, so please choose happy. Thanks. Bye-bye.